Something massive just happened. Millions of people across Britain have spoken out, but Starmer's government has chosen a route that's left the country stunned. What's unfolding could change the way every single one of us lives, works, and proves who we are. And the backlash is only just begun. Let's break down this story. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Well, the numbers speak for themselves. Nearly 2.88 million Britons have now signed a petition urging the government stop the rollout of digital ID. Yet Keir Starmer's administration has flatly rejected their calls. Instead of listening to the public, Starmer has doubled down. He told GB News that his government is forging ahead with plans to impose required digital ID, insisting it's the only way to stop illegal migrants from working in the black economy. Now, on paper, the government's program would mean every UK citizen and legal resident aged 16 and over will be handed a free national ID, something similar to what Estonia already has. But others fear it's a dangerous step toward a dystopian future, raising significant concerns over hacking, spying, and the erosion of fundamental freedoms. The timing is also telling. Ever since Starmer's announcement last Friday, the petition has erupted in signatures. More than 3,000 individuals signed from Starmer's own constituency alone, and latest polling shows the severity of the opposition. Just a few months ago, over a third of the country backed the notion. Today, after Starmer's push, net support has collapsed to -4%. That is a drastic turnaround and a political shame. But here's the kicker. Despite this tidal tsunami of opposition, the government isn't budging. In a statement on October 2, the Department for Science, Innovation, and Technology stated it very clearly. They think digital ID will make people's lives easier and more secure. And they frame it as modernizing, putting more control in your hands, reducing paperwork, and fighting fraud. The department even compared it to how you use a digital wallet on your phone today. They say you'll soon be able to use this ID to access public services, collect benefits, verify your right to work, and even provide evidence of age. But let's be clear, while they stress it's not essential to have a digital ID, they admit it will be mandatory for certain activities. Employers will soon be legally obligated to check your digital ID before hiring you. In other words, if you don't have one, you may find yourself locked out of the job market. That is when many commentators say the dystopian element creeps in. If access to job, services, or benefits depends on having this digital identity, then it becomes in practice compulsory. And if the system ever malfunctions, gets hacked, or is exploited by the state, millions might be shut out overnight. Yes, the government looks to Estonia as a success tale where the digital society is efficient, streamlined, and saves taxpayers money. But Britain isn't Estonia. Here, trust in government is already rock bottom. Millions in Britain simply don't believe politicians will respect their privacy or keep their data safe. And that lack of trust is at the heart of why this strategy is so controversial. The government insists police won't be able to demand your digital ID in a stop and search. They insist it won't be a criminal violation to not have one, but people don't buy it. Once the infrastructure is in place, the fear is it becomes a weapon of control expanded bit by bit until you need it for nearly everything. That's why millions are saying no. This isn't just about convenience. It's about freedom, privacy, and whether the state should have the right to track every movement and transaction of its citizens. So, here we are. 2.7 million voices ignored. A prime minister determined to push ahead anyhow. And a country now facing a huge fight over the future of personal freedom in Britain. The question is straightforward. Do you trust Keir Starmer's administration to control your digital identity, or do you stand with the millions already saying enough is enough? In other developments, Nigel Farage has strongly slammed pro-Palestine protesters who looked to revel in the aftermath of the Manchester synagogue terror incident, characterizing the scenes as the most despicable he had ever witnessed on British streets. The Reform UK head made a statement on X following the attack outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in Crumpsall, which left 2 men dead and 4 others critically injured. The attacker, identified as 35-year-old British national of Syrian heritage, Jayed al-Sharmi, rammed his vehicle at high speed into a group of Jewish worshippers before initiating a knife assault. He was subsequently shot dead by police at the scene. The attack stunned communities across the UK, but within hours, pro-Palestine protests were taking place in various locations, including London and Glasgow. In film from one such demonstration outside Downing Street, a protester was heard saying, "I don't give a about the Jewish community right now." Farage said the juxtaposition of these demonstrations with the terror attack was inexcusable. The scenes of Jewish people being butchered on the streets of Manchester yesterday, I think, have shaken many of us deeply to the core. And I want to extend on behalf of myself and our party our absolutely most profound condolences to all of those impacted. But it's worse than that. It's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. I think the whole Jewish community in Britain are now deeply afraid. Within only a few hours of this awful occurrence, we saw in London, Glasgow, and elsewhere pro-Palestinian flags on the streets, people out previously unannounced demonstrating. But here's the truth of it. They weren't demonstrating. They were actually celebrating. I can't even imagine we've ever witnessed such awful scenes on our streets. Certainly not in my lifetime. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood also condemned the sentiments made at the London March, calling them completely disgraceful and un-British. Speaking on GB News, she said, "Those messages are utterly disgraceful. They are fundamentally un-British in nature as far as I'm concerned." Mahmood urged campaigners to step back from protesting for at least a few days just to give the Jewish community here a chance to process what has happened and to begin the grieving process, adding that she was very disappointed that some of the organizers haven't heeded the call to step back. Farage jumped on the Home Secretary's response, accusing the government of failing to respond with sufficient vigor. In response to this, the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, says she's disappointed. Disappointed. That's the most the Home Secretary can say. Well, I hope all of you watching this video are outraged. Outraged and frankly frightened. This is broken Britain. This is evidence of societal disintegration. It is deeply troubling and terribly terrifying. Will this Prime Minister do anything about it? No. In reality, he's emboldened these individuals by his recognition of Palestine 2 weeks ago. And never forget, this is the Prime Minister that took the knee just a few short years ago to an extreme outfit. The Reform UK leader went further, stating that an upcoming march in London could only be described as a hate march. Now, there is a big, enormous march scheduled in London this Saturday. And I think the only way we can describe it is a hate march. Whether the Home Secretary and the police decide they've got the authorities to stop it, I don't know. What is for certain is we're a country that enables peaceful protest, but we're not a culture that allows the celebration of murder or words in our streets that are deeply insightful. I must admit, speaking this now to you now, I feel more worried about the status of broken Britain than I ever have before. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet so, make sure you do leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British material. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.